Just as we kind of begin, I just first want to say welcome. I'm Travis Albee. I'm the Director of Admissions here at the Brook Hill School for our boarding program. And so we're so excited that you've joined us this evening and can't wait to share our school with you and to talk with you more about what it's like to be a Brook Hill boarding student. So just a few things as we look to get started is we just want you to kind of get familiar with the screen down bottom, particularly the Q&A button. So there might be times as you're watching this webinar that you have some questions that you want to ask. Feel free at any time just to type your questions there, and I will be able to see those. And might respond to it during the presentation by typing if it's just a quick, easy thing to answer, or we might choose to highlight it and answer those questions at the end. And so we have a Q&A time at the end, so we look forward to doing that. And again, you can click hide all non-video participants if you only want to see the panelists, and just enjoy learning more about Brook Hill. So as we kind of get started, you know, the Brook Hill School is a Christ-centered college prep boarding school in Texas. We are in Bullard, which is near a city called Tyler, which is east of Dallas by about 90 minutes. And so Brook Hill has boarding students in grades 8 through 12. And we have about 120 of them, 60 boys, 60 girls, and they come from 30 different countries from all over the world. So it's a very diverse group of students. And we also have students from America, which we're excited to have two of our domestic students with us here tonight, both Ryan Ordini and Christina Hoffman. And so they're going to be sharing with you at a few different points throughout the evening. So we're excited for you to kind of get to hear from them and meet them and kind of get to know them. And so, you know, our goal at Brook Hill is for every student to leave us a better leader, listener, learner, problem solver, and friend. And so our education program, everything that we're doing is geared around helping students get a quality Christ-centered comprehensive education, but also learn who they are, figure out what they like, discover their potential to do great things. And we also want care about their hearts. We want them to be young men and women of Christ-like character who walk out into the world, who are ready for whatever comes next. And so that's just a little bit about Brook Hill. And so as we kind of get heading into the night, I just wanted to briefly take a minute to introduce some of our friends here. So with us tonight, we will have Sean Rhodes. He's our Director of Residence Life. He's going to be sharing with us a little bit later. We have Hillary Cheatham. She's our Admissions Associate for Boarding, Associate Director of Admissions for Boarding. So we're excited to have her here with us tonight. And of course, we have two great students with us. We have Christina Hoffman and Ryan Ordini. I'm going to let them just take a brief moment to kind of introduce themselves. So Christina, we'd love to hear from you real fast.
Hi, I'm Christina Hoffman. I'm going to be going into 11th grade at Brook Hill. Last year was my first year. I played volleyball last year, and I'm excited for my 11th grade year.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Christina. And also we have with us Ryan Ordini. Ryan, you want to share, just kind of introduce yourself?
Hi, y'all. I'm Ryan Ordini. I'm going to be entering my 12th senior year at Brook Hill. This will be my third year attending Brook Hill. I'm from Flower Mound, Texas. I played basketball at Brook Hill, and I also last year worked at the coffee shop that's on campus.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan. We're excited to hear from you more later. And Hillary, I'm going to pass it off to you for a little bit just to kind of introduce yourself and kind of show us around campus.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name is Hillary Cheatham. I have been at Brook Hill for a little over a year, and I work with all of our new boarding students. And so just to tell you a little bit about Brook Hill, we really do try for excellence in everything we do, but from academics to residence life to athletics, fine arts. And so I'm just going to touch on that a little bit. We do have 675 students total. That's in grades pre-K through 12. But as Travis said, our boarding program starts in 8th grade. So in those grades 8 through 12, we have about 340 students, and 120 of them are boarding students. So we do, love our boarding students. But again, one of the ways that we do strive for excellence is, of course, in academics. We are a college preparatory school, so everything we do are getting our students ready for university. 70% of our faculty have an advanced degree, so at least a master's degree. Many of them have a doctorate as well, and so they're very qualified to be teaching such rigorous classes, we do offer 29 AP and dual credit courses. So you'll get to hear a little bit later about some really exciting classes we have in the business world, but we do have AP classes or college or dual credit courses in every subject. So it's a great place to kind of come and discover what your student is interested in as far as academics to prepare them for university. You can see here our average class size is small. It's a 14, so we like to keep that class size small to really encourage students to have a lot of discussions with their peers, to get to know their teachers, and all of that. You'll see we do have a pretty strong ACT and SAT average here. That is due part and a lot just because we have a college prep course that our students, it just kind of teaches them how to take these college entrance exams. So we're getting them ready for university in every way, and each year we have students matriculate to some of the top universities in the nation. Texas is a great place to call home during your years in high school because you actually get a lot of perks. One of those being we have some of the top universities in the nation. Rice, University of Texas at Austin, and Texas A&M are all ranked in the top 10 in the nation to get a job after college graduation. So again, a lot of really great schools right here in our home state. And so, we do have students go to great Texas school every year, but you'll see we have students at Cornell, Washington State Universities, NYU right now as well. So really diverse in the way that our students go to, choose their universities. Our teachers are all getting students ready, teaching them about, different universities. We have an academic counselor that works with each of our students. And so they're really just trying to help them to understand what they like best, what type of school they like best. They're getting on college campuses every year and doing tours as well. So again, just a lot of guidance in that way of just choosing, what's after high school. We believe in an immersive education at Brook Hill. And so, we really believe that, yes, students can learn from a textbook, but when they learn from experience, it's going to go a lot further. One of the ways we do that is through the Socratic method of teaching. We really believe this is the top way to teach students, and instead of giving them giving them answers to questions, we're really teaching them how to ask questions. And so we're just teaching them to think critically, to really engage and think outside of the box. And so you'll kind of see in some of these classroom videos that students often sit in a circle in class, really so that they can engage in that dialogue with one another. We'll have a little bit later, Ryan will talk about a really cool program we have in our business lab. We have a museum on campus, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but we just really believe in a lot of project-based learning. Another thing is our global education. It's, like Travis mentioned, we do have students from all over the world join us at Brook Hill each year. So when you're sitting in a class, whether it be economics, history, or even humanities, and you're able to dialogue with students from all around the world, it really creates a very rich, education experience. And they're going to hear different perspectives, maybe from the Czech Republic or even from Florida to Texas, that's a little bit different than that students would get otherwise. So we're proud of that global aspect of Brook Hill as well. Some top programs we have, again, I did mention the American Freedom Museum we do have on campus, a state-of-the-art museum. Inside there is a plane that was flown in World War II, and then you'll see here a helicopter from the Vietnam War. So we say, when your classroom becomes, when your classroom becomes a museum, you're not going to want to go back to learning about history in a textbook. And so that's true. And our students, no matter what subject they're studying, have a project in the museum each year. So we've seen statistics students down in the museum, learning about the different stats in, World War II. We've seen biology students doing genetics and Punnett squares in the Hall of Presidents. So it's a pretty cool experience, and again, just pretty unique to Brook Hill. We do have a robotics and fabrication lab. So if you are at all interested in robotics, it's a really cool experience to kind of just go in. You'll see this is one of our boarding students right here. He's working on his robot. So that's kind of a fun thing. Students get to compete with their creations. But also the fabrication lab is brand new this year. And so there's a lot of really awesome equipment in there, from a 3D printer to a bunch of stuff. I don't even know what it is, but we've seen every class again. I've seen humanities classes in there making models for different projects they're working on. So no matter what class, they're going to have, some sort of project going on in those labs. So it's pretty exciting. Another program we have at Brook Hill is called Spark Week. This is just a week where we've asked our teachers, hey, if you could teach anything in the world, what would you teach and where would you teach it? And so we get our students outside of the classroom for an entire week, whether it be in another country like Guatemala or Spain or Japan, Israel, or maybe just other really cool parts of the US like Boston, California, Florida. You know, we have students kind of go all over and just have some out of the classroom experiences, anything from service opportunities to cultural experiences to figuring out what a career in athletics looks like. So we're pretty proud of that. Just a really intense and very cool week outside of the classroom. Fine arts and athletics are a really pivotal part of Brook Hill as well. We really believe like when students can come on campus and get involved, not only are they happier, they're more successful because they're staying active and staying, you know, competitive, whether it be in fine arts or athletics. We believe that, of course, winning is the goal of competition, but we do say it's not why we play. You know, that competition really builds character and teaches our students life skills that they'll carry with them the rest of their life. So whether it be a team sport like volleyball or basketball or a solo sport like golf, you know, our coaches are really investing in our students both on the field and off the field and just trying to, you know, build them up into men and women that are confident and able to just, you know, leave Brook Hill pretty strong. And so also we do have 13 competitive sports that students can compete in and choose from. And we also encourage students to come and try new sports if they want to pick up a sport that they've excelled at for many years as well, and they can come and grow in that. So our athletics is really strong. And then our arts, fine arts program is great between choir, orchestra, visual arts, and theater. You know, there's kind of something for every creative, and we really believe, you know, this is our chance to have students kind of discover, you know, what their unique ability is to just shine and create. And so whether it be, you know, any of these different disciplines, you know, there's different outlets for that. And so again, we encourage students to kind of get in, try something new. But what I do love about Brook Hill is it's a big enough school that competition's great, but it's small enough that you can try all of it. So we have students each year that are, you know, playing star football team and also playing, you know, singing in the school musical. So it's a place where you can come and kind of do it all. And we really do encourage our students to do that as well. And that's Brook Hill.
Thanks so much, Hillary. And right now we've got a great opportunity to kind of hear more about our Residence Life program from Sean Rhodes, our Director of Residence Life. So Sean, we'd love to kind of hear from you and just about you and your role in our Res Life program at Brook Hill.
Sure, yeah. Hey guys, I wish we could see each other face to face in person, but I'm thankful for Zoom too that we get to do this. Hopefully this has been informative for you so far, and I know you're going to have a lot of questions. Don't worry, you can send your questions in, you can type those in, and then they'll be read out later on. So that opportunity is going to come up at the end of this. I'm Sean Rhodes. I've been at Brook Hill for now 17 years. And both of my kids go to Brook Hill. Lorian's in 11th grade and Atticus is in 9th grade. And they've had a good experience. Atticus is a multi-sport athlete. Lorian's done cheer and golf. So they've been enriched by it. I know your children would be too. But I want to tell you a little bit about just a typical week, a typical day for one of our boarding kids. I think that answers a lot of questions and puts a frame around maybe the questions you might have. So we start off with breakfast in the Commons. And so our food service is called Flick. They're out of Manhattan. And they've been with us now for a couple of years. And they've taken good care of us. And they have all kinds of great foods that they serve our kids. That's all you can eat. They go back as much as they want. That starts out at 7 in the morning, and that's optional. You don't have to go to breakfast, but you can. And then from there, the kids go into their classes, and they start at 8:15. And the academic day goes from 8:15 until 2:50, and then athletics begins at 3. And so almost all of our kids are in athletics. There's a certain requirement that you have to meet, but even beyond that, a lot of our kids will stay in athletics just because it's such a cool program at Brook Hill, and there's so much opportunity. And they'll be in that until 3:45 off season. And then if they're on season, like if they're in soccer and it's soccer season, well, they're going to go longer, or football or fill in the blank sport. They're going to go longer, maybe even into a game that evening. But if they're not in a game or if they're not in season, then the boarding kids have an opportunity every afternoon to go off campus to get into town. We have errand runners that take the kids into town in vans, and so if they need to get their hair cut or if they need to pick up a tux for the prom or whatever it might be, then there's an opportunity for them every day after school to do that. And then dinner starts at 6, and so that's mandatory. Everybody has to be at dinner. Again, through Flick Services, and they are dinner from 6 to 6:30. That's followed by a study hall. Study hall is mandatory for everybody who is not making A's or B's. And then those who are failing, they have to do a 2-hour study hall, and then everybody else does a 90-minute study hall. So it's 6:30 to 8 for everybody not making A's and B's, and 6:30 to 8:30 for anybody that's not passing a class. By way of academic support, real quick, there's ACE, there's peer tutoring, there's third-party tutoring that the students can hire. So there's lots of levels and degrees of academic support for your student. At 8:30, 3 times a week, we'll have a Walmart run. We'll load up the bus and head into town, and the kids can get what they need at Walmart or stop off at Whataburger and get them a hamburger or whatever. They have to be back in the dorms by 10, and so house curfew is at 10. And then room curfew is at 10:45, and lights out is at 11. And if a student needs extra time, we have something called late lights, and so they can go to their house parent and they can say, Mrs. Delaney, I had a lot of work I needed to get done. I didn't get quite it all done, and I was wondering if I could have an hour, and so they can get an extra hour of study time. There is Wi-Fi all over campus. We do have a firewall that prevents the kids from getting into things that they shouldn't get into, and that's closely monitored by our tech department. All of our house parents, I want to talk about them for just a couple of seconds. All of our house parents, our entire team is coming back again this year. Most of our faculty, most of our Res Life staff have been with us for multiple years, and so I'm very happy to have all of them coming back again. They're in it for one reason. They're in it because they love the kids and they want to give them as good of an experience as they possibly can. So these are dedicated house parents, which means we have assigned house parents that take care of their 20 and the other kids, and there's a rotation of the team that takes care of those kids, but that's all they do. They don't run off to go coach, and they don't run off to go do something else. We have one exception to that. Mr. Moore is a teacher. He teaches during the day, but then during the off hours, he's a house parent. Everybody else, that's what they do. They don't do anything else except house parent, and that's really good for us. It's really good for the kids. It's unique. It's not like any other school, at least that I'm aware of, and so that's something that we're really, really proud of, and we're just thankful for that. On weekends, we do a lot of entertainment. On Saturdays, we'll go to Dallas, or we'll go to Tyler, we'll go bowling, and we'll go to the movies. All of that's covered, so there's no extra charge for that. On Sundays, everybody gets up and goes to church, and the kids can tell you a little bit more about that if they want to, but the kids will go with their house parent to the church that the house parent goes to, and they're all local. I'll take a group with me to church as well, and so that's just something that we do. Sundays are kind of down days. We don't plan a whole lot for Sundays, just to let the kids rejuvenate and recuperate and get ready for the coming week. And then we have a little hour study hall on Sunday nights to get their life organized. So there's a week in the boarding world, and if the kids want to flesh that out a little bit more when they have their opportunity, they can do that. But again, I'm available for any questions that you might have, not only during this program, but also through the website. You can find my email address. I'm happy to connect with you in any way that I can.
Thank you so much, Sean. And up next, we would kind of love to hear from you, Christina. Christina's going to share a little bit about life as a boarding student in the boarding houses, kind of show us around through these videos. So Christina, excited to kind of hear from you.
Okay, well, as I said, I am a boarding student, and my name's Christina, and I'm going into 11th grade. This past year was my first year, and it was really different and exciting for me, especially since I live in Florida. I'm not an international student, but it was still a big adjustment, and I really appreciate it. Here's the boarding community, what it kind of looks like. There is 5 houses around in a circle. This is Miss Drigger's house. She's one of the girl boarding parents, and every boarding house has a full functional laundry room, kitchen. Here's the hallway where all the bedrooms are at. These rooms are a lot cleaner than mine. And there's a suite to each room. So there's 2 bedrooms with 1 bathroom, and you share that with your suite mates, but there is 2 roommates per bedroom. And that's really nice. It was really nice for me, especially because I've never really lived like in a communal area. It was always just, myself, and, everything was kind of to my disposal. So it was a really different adjustment for me, but I really appreciate it, and especially how everyone in Brook Hill really comes together as a community. I know I met some of my best friends from Brook Hill that I still keep in contact. Even if they still don't attend, I still talk to them all the time. And it's just really unique getting to meet people from different states or different countries in a way that you never really before. You really get to live with them and see what their culture's like, adjust to their customs. And it's just a really cool experience for me. And being away from home, it was really nice being able to click with people that I would never have met without Brook Hill. So I really enjoyed that aspect.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Christina. Just kind of great to hear a student's perspective about life in the boarding house, and just great to kind of hear your experience and your growth and your perspective on that. So up next, we would love to kind of hear from Ryan a little bit more. So Ryan, would you kind of just tell us a little bit about your experience in the business lab this last year, and in working in the coffee shop and all of that?
Yeah. The business lab is probably my favorite classroom at Brook Hill. The classes I took there last year was business principles and marketing. Both were taught by Miss King, who was an exceptionally good teacher. She really connects with the students and is very she really listens to the students, and she's also really helpful. It's whenever you need help, she's probably one of my favorite teachers at Brook Hill. The business classroom is a really, really different classroom. It's very unique and it's very simple, but in a good way. As you can see down here with the picture of me and my friends, the tables are basically whiteboards. So you have expo markers that you're able to draw on the boards, and we use that for a lot of assignments. In some of the video clips here, you can see the big television screen, and that's where Miss King was able to draw on the board and demonstrate stuff to us and teach her classes. And that was an exceptional class and an exceptional classroom. And also the coffee shop, I worked there at the coffee shop last year. Right here you can see the porch of it. It's called The Cabin, and The Cabin is probably the hottest spot at Brook Hill for all the students. All the students go there all the time. Lunch, breaks, after school, sometimes before school. They host a few events and stuff during the year, so you'll probably not go into Brook Hill without ever being there. It's a very, very nice place. They have a lot of good food and a lot of good drinks, and it's just a very calm, quiet place most of the time. It's a really great place to hang out with your friends. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to kind of hear about your experience there, and the coffee shop and the business lab are just some really cool, unique features. The coffee shop, the Cabin, it was the first building on Brook Hill's campus, before we had any other buildings, and it's been a bunch of different things throughout our time. But one thing that our favorite is that it's now a coffee shop, and it's kind of a hub of campus and a fun place to hang out. And the business lab has just been really cool because it has added a whole host of, experiential classes for our students. They can also earn college credit and kind of get business experience in and all that. So thank you so much for sharing. We're excited to hear some more from y'all in a little bit as we ask some more questions. But just to kind of wrap up the application side of Brook Hill and kind of the final part of this presentation before we move into our questions, I just want to pass it off to you, Hillary.
Yeah, so steps to apply to Brook Hill. The best first step is to start your application online at brookhill.org/apply. If you have any questions at all, you can always shoot me an email. So this is my email address here, hcheatham@brookhill.org. From there, we'll go over your application. Once it's submitted, then I'll work with you to go ahead and get your transcripts submitted from high school, teacher recommendations. We need 3 of those. Test scores. So if you have taken an ACT, the PSAT, or the SSAT, then we do accept those. However, if not, that's okay. We can send you a test in your interview. If you are an international student, then we do require, whose first language is not English, then we do require an English test score. Again, that's something really convenient. We can send you steps how to take one online. So all of our testing we can provide ways for you. You don't have to go to a test center. And then a step also is just to schedule an interview. So either on Zoom or Skype or even in person if possible. We'd love for a chance just to sit down and chat with you. It's just a college interview, but it's just a great time for me to get to know the student and just kind of see what they're about. And then also a great chance for them to get to ask questions about Brook Hill. So those are the pretty simple steps to apply. But like I said, I will always walk applicants through that process. And this is my email address.
Great. Thanks so much, Hillary. Yeah, as always, we are here to help you and walk you through that process and schedule any tours or anything that you might need. So here for a minute, we just kind of wanted to jump into a short time of Q&A. And again, if you have specific questions that you'd like to ask, just use that Q&A button at the bottom, and then we'll try to incorporate those questions in. Now, just kind of as y'all are thinking through that and doing that, I've got a couple of questions I just wanted to kind of ask some of our panelists here today. And one, this is for both you and Ryan, Christina. So Christina and Ryan, would love to hear y'all answer this question. In what ways do you feel like your boarding school experience at Brook Hill has changed you? You know, like how have you grown since you've been a student at Brook Hill? So Christina, we kind of love to hear from you first, and then from you, Ryan.
Okay, great. Well, my experience has definitely changed me with, one, how I really viewed the world and other people that didn't just live around me, and two, really my maturity and my responsibility. Like when I first came to Brook Hill, I didn't really know anyone except for where I lived. That's just something that never occurred to me, making friends that live in different countries or different continents or anything like that. And when I came to Brook Hill, it really opened my mindset to other cultures and other languages and how other people lived beside where I was. It really opened my eyes and opened my heart to meeting new people. And also it taught me a lot about being mature and responsible, because although your house parents are there to help you with anything you need and there's lunch and dinner and breakfast provided, you still have to do your own laundry. And other than the cleaning staff cleaning your room, you do have to put it on yourself to make it look nice, make your bed, keep everything organized. You really, at some aspect, it's really an independent thing. And I really appreciated that. And I know my parents did, because it taught me a lot coming home. I know they really appreciated that. But it was really nice because towards the end of the year, I changed drastically, and I noticed myself. It was like in the beginning of the year, I did not know how to work a washer. Now I come home and I do a whole load for my mother before she comes home. Like those things you don't really think about until after, but it really, really changed my experience and changed me as a person by going to boarding school at Brook Hill.
That's awesome, Christina. Thanks so much for sharing. Ryan, we'd love to hear from you. How's your time at Brook Hill kind of changed you or helped you grow as a person?
Yeah. Well, growing up my whole life, I've kind of been like an independent person. So coming into Brook Hill really like helped me with that and like let me be the best I can at Brook Hill. You really have to learn to hold yourself accountable. That's probably one of the biggest things at Brook Hill is, yes, you do have house parents. They do look after you. They do help you a lot, but they're not going to get you through the whole process of school and taking care of yourself all the time. You definitely have to learn to grow up, and it really prepares you for college. When they say college prep, I think boarding has an even bigger impact of that, of college prep, because once you go to college, you're living on your own, you're taking care of yourself, and Brook Hill prepares you for that early. I realized, hey, I need to get some money. I need to so I can do things that I want to do. So that's why I got a job at the coffee house. Like, it's really just learning to adapt to your surroundings and just making the most out you can with the situation. I definitely agree with Christina when she said it opened your eyes to other cultures, other mindsets. Humanities is probably the biggest class that you notice that in. I've had a lot of boarding students last year in my class, my humanities class, and they have a lot of different views and opinions on a lot of different things, which really opens your eyes and lets you think outside the tiny little bubble that you may live in. You just really experience other things and the way other people think, and it's just really fascinating to me. And yeah, Brook Hill has definitely helped me become more mature and helped me be way more prepared for the real world out of high school.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, both Ryan and Christina. You know, you both kind of hit on that idea of independence, and that's something that boarding school really does. It really does give you a leg up and help you become a more independent person. We have another question for you, Sean. And, Sean, you're also in addition to being our director of residence life, you also are director of campus ministry. And so, I would just, we'd love to hear from you. How do we at Brook Hill nurture the spiritual life of students?
Okay, yeah, great. Well, I'll start off by saying first that Brook Hill is an open enrollment school, which means you don't have to be a follower of Christ to come to Brook Hill. It's a place where we welcome all faiths, all denominations, and so that's the first thing. But in that open enrollment system, we also hire all of our teachers love the Lord. All of our teachers are experts in their field. All of our teachers love kids. And so those are the three things that are a must. They're non-negotiables when it comes to the folks that we bring on, staff, bring on faculty, bring on the board. So because everybody who works at Brook Hill is a believer, there's automatically an ethos of spirituality and spiritual nurturing that is just part of the culture. It's part of the air that you breathe when you come on the campus. There's teachers praying for kids, staff members praying for kids. It's a very, very prayerful, prayer-centered environment, very prayer-centered campus and school from pre-K through 12. So that's just the overall general kind of 5,000-foot spiritual perspective. But then also, in addition to that, we have Bible classes that the kids go to. My kids come home and tell me stuff that they've learned in their Bible classes. They'll just spout off stuff like it's all part of their thinking, because a biblical worldview is stressed and taught. And so I've seen that in my own two kids. I think Brian and Christina, if you talk to them at any depth, you would find that in them as well. So there's that. And then there's also chapel every week. So we get together on Wednesdays and we'll have a guest speaker, or we'll have a speaker from in-house, talk on some topic that we're focusing on that particular month. This past year we did 2 Timothy 4:12 and the guard charge. Those were the frameworks through which we taught chapel, or we had chapel. That's followed by advisory. And so advisory is when the kids break off into smaller groups, gender specific, and there'll be a group from 8 to 12 kids. They'll get together with their advisor and they'll unpack whatever was talked about in chapel so that they can have application points. And then our service projects are oftentimes organized through our advisory groups as well. And then also there's OASIS week. OASIS is an acronym. It stands for Others Are Served Instead of Self. And it's the week preceding Easter weekend. And so we will have chapel every day. We'll have worship every day. We'll have advisory every day. And then on Thursday is a service project day. And that's the culminating event of the week, because Friday being Good Friday, we're off. And so the kids will load up. They'll go all over town. They'll go over Tyler, East Texas, and they'll carry out these acts of service. They'll fix up a nursery in North Tyler, or they'll go do some work for an old folks home or for Breckenridge Village. So there's just all sorts of things that they'll do during OASIS week on that particular day. So those are some of the things. It's hard to really capture everything spiritual at Brook Hill, because it's just so big. It's just so much a part of what happens at Brook Hill. There's Bible studies for the kids. I led a Bible study this past year called Redefined. So there's just lots and lots of opportunities for kids to grow spiritually if that's what they want. So every year we see kids come to Christ, and it's really incredible.
It's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing, Sean. Ryan and Christina, we've got another question for you, which is, how would you describe the community at Brook Hill? Christina, I guess we'll kind of pass it off to you first. But how would you describe the community?
I would describe it as definitely welcoming, because when I came to Brook Hill, I didn't really know much about the area I was in. And you leave your family, your friends, you're kind of on your own for a little bit. And you're in kind of a vulnerable space where you're just like, okay, I don't really know anyone. I need to, calm down. But they're very welcoming. I remember I first came, and Miss Laney, who was my house parent last year, was very welcoming. And I automatically felt so comfortable around them. And especially meeting other students are also in the same spot. Whether you're returning or you're new, everyone's kind of nervous, because, you get so used to over summer, like being with everyone and your family. You still get a little nervous going back to school. So everyone's in the same boat as you are. And it's just really nice to have a welcoming community that that you can feel good around, and not like afraid to be yourself at all, and just feel at home as soon as you get there.
Awesome. Those are some great words, Christina. What about you, Ryan? How would you describe the Brook Hill community?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Christina. The community is very welcoming. You find your friends really, really fast. I remember my sophomore year was my first year there, and I got there, and just the people in the house, like you'll find who you click with really fast. I remember that day, like I met my friends Casper and Isaiah, and we just went to dinner together, and we just started talking, and that's how you get to know people. Like it's just really fast. It's really instant. When you get there, the house meetings you have with your house parents and all your other people that you're living with, the other students in the house meetings really connect you pretty fast. You get to know people really easily. And as a returning student, me and Christina can both vouch for that. Like we are very welcoming to new people. I remember last year, Christina got there. I remember like the first week, like me and her like became like really close friends, like really fast. Teachers, house parents, they're all insanely like nice and welcoming, especially the house parents. My house parents, Mr. Wilson, just not a biased opinion or anything, but I think he's the best house parent. He's awesome. The house parents really, they all try their best to be as accommodating as possible to all the students and as helpful as they can. They really do care about all the people that are living in their house. It's not like they're just like doing it for the money. That's what is told to me by my house parent, Mr. Wilson. He says he doesn't do it for the money, he does it for the kids. And you can that definitely reflects by his actions. All the students are very welcome. There's always a clique that you can find yourself in, and a group of people and group of friends that you'll know how you're hanging out with them for like the rest of the year, and you'll find it pretty fast. Whether it's day students or boarding students, you'll find your friends really quickly.
Awesome. All right, and then one final question for both you, Ryan and Christina. So if you had one piece of advice that you could give families or students who are interested in boarding school, or even particularly Brook Hill, what would your advice be? Ryan, why don't you go first?
I would definitely say ask for help. My freshman year, I remember all my boarding student friends, I've been doing my laundry since like 7th grade. So I taught like 10 people in my boarding house how to do laundry for the first time because they all asked. Like asking for help, especially at the beginning of the year, is really important because a lot of the students are international and they are not really used to living in their own. They're in a whole other continent doing like things they haven't really done before. Definitely not only just the domestic students like me and Christina, but other international students that have been there. Like everyone's there to help you, especially the house parents. Help is very, very important. Also, I would say, like Christina kind of mentioned earlier, I know it's really hard to say this and to like do this, but it's really about not being nervous when you get there. The more you be yourself, the easier it'll be to find out who your friends are, because you're going to be living with these people for an entire school year. You're going to have to come out of your shell eventually. So you might as well do it at the beginning to know who your friends are really fast. And just finding the right friends and the right people that are right for you. And I can vouch, like I said earlier, for me and Christina, we would be happy to help any student that's new there, like with anything.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Christina?
I definitely agree with Ryan on what he's saying. Definitely being yourself, because you're going to grow as a person and you're going to meet people that are in the same spot as you are when you first get there. So when you be yourself, it's easy to find people who are like you, and then you both grow, because no matter what year you're in, no matter if you're new or if you're returning, boarding school every year really does change your life, changes you as a person. You grow. A piece of advice I have is to get a good system going. I know going into this school year, I didn't really have a great studying system. I didn't really know how to study very well. And study hall definitely helped me with that. I got to plan out my time because I was like, okay, this time I know everyone. I'm not missing out on anything. Everyone's in their room. Everyone's studying. And it really helped me focus on that. And especially because the gym is open at night, which I really like, because my mindset is, let me study, let me get all this done so I can go to the gym and I can work out and I de-stress myself. That's my personal system that I like to use. But having a system like that is really nice, and it really does help out. So having a work ethic system in the beginning really does contribute to how your year goes and how everything goes along. And that's
Awesome.
my advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. What a great time just kind of getting to hear from y'all and get get your perspective. And attendees, thank you so much for coming. I think that's all the questions that we have. And so we're just so grateful that, that you've come to learn about Brook Hill, and we look forward to kind of continuing the conversation with you. And yeah, as Hillary said before, just email us if you have any questions, call us. We're here to help with the application process. We're here to help you discover if Brook Hill is right for your family. If you want to schedule a tour, if you want to have a more in-depth conversation with any of us, we would love to have more conversations with you. We're here for you. And yeah, I hope you have a great night, and we look forward to talking more soon. So have a great day. See ya.